Welcome into another edition of Meet the Bird Gang. Brandon Ross. I'm joined by 2019 Orleans Firebirds pitcher Nick Garcia. Nick, first of all, how you doing? You staying safe during all this?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Just trying to make the most out of the situation and stay in as good a shape and kind of enjoy this weird time off that we have. I mean, usually we're in playoff baseball right now, so just trying to take in all the best out we can of this.
And Nick, you had a lot of experience with postseason baseball last year. We'll get to that in a little bit. But first, let's start out from the beginning of your baseball journey. You grew up in California, baseball hotbed. I'm assuming the transition to baseball was pretty easy.
Yeah, no, I always grew up around it. I had an older brother, always watched him play, and just kind of was one of those things that just jumped right into and absolutely loved it.
Relative to where your stock is right now, I guess it wasn't seen as much to the same extent coming out of high school. You played pretty well at a pretty top-tier program, Junipero Serra, if I'm not mistaken. And then you wind up at a D3 school, Chapman, a good D3 program. They won the national championship last year. But what led you in that direction?
In high school, I was always kind of on the lankier side, not really filled out, just never really there physically. Had some talent, but never really developed too much just because of my body. And then in high school, I worked pretty hard academically, so it was kind of a hard choice for me to want to go the junior college route. So I visited Chapman. I knew it was a great school, great fit academically, and just the coaches fit my personality real well, and it was something that I saw I could really thrive in. And of course, it's a winning program, so it just kind of hit all the points that I really wanted to really be in.
And for those in Orleans who may not know, because you were exclusively a pitcher last summer, you went in as a two-way player. You played exclusively third base that first year. So how was that transition into the college game for you, even though it wasn't at the position you're really focused on right now?
It was college is much different than any other high school baseball you could have imagined. So coming in, I was just ready to work and try to earn a spot on the field. And it just happened that year, we were so loaded on the mound that we didn't really need any more help there. As the year went on, obviously I kind of was hoping that I could get a chance to start throwing, but just kind of put my head down and got some ABs my freshman year. Then turn it over to that summer and moving into my sophomore fall, I was kind of starting really to get that itch to get back on the mound and really see what I could have.
When did you know that pitching was the path forward for you?
I'd probably say there was an inner squad my sophomore fall that I threw in, and it was kind of just like a light bulb kind of went off for me. Really undescribable feeling. I can't really go dive into it because it was something clicked for me, and it was kind of like this is where I feel like I belong. I felt so much more in control. I felt everything just slowed down for me. And I just it was kind of a light bulb moment for me. And from there I fully bought into it. I loved every aspect of learning about it. It's just something really I've never experienced all of that in one.
So you make that headfirst dive into pitching full time. What was the first thing that really stuck out to you that you learned that made a big difference?
It's so much different. You're on the opposite side of the hitting aspect. You get to control so much more to a certain extent. And that's something that I love, I thrived on, because I could go out there and I could just control and dominate with my stuff. And it usually the end result, when you do that, ends up in your direction. And so that's something that I absolutely love, because that made me want to perfect everything more and more and learn faster and faster and develop just into a better pitcher every day. And that's something that really just clicked with me and helped me learn and just really go out there with the confidence that if I did what I was supposed to, results were going to go my way.
And things definitely clicked for you. You led that Chapman team to a national championship at the D3 level in the College World Series last year, was named the most outstanding player. And then you end up in Orleans, and only so many D3 guys managed to make it to the Cape. How was your path to Orleans paved for you?
It was kind of an interesting one for sure. I wasn't pretty much headed out there till the week before we left for the World Series. I'm extremely thankful for Skip and his giving me the opportunity to head out there. I knew it was going to be like a once in a lifetime opportunity. I know not too many guys at my level are given the opportunity to go out there for a whole summer too. Um, and I took everything I could out of it. I remember the first day I stepped out there, uh, Kelly pulled me aside and he said, enjoy every second of this, because you're going to look back and really just miss these days. And that held true every single day I was there. And it holds true even more now, missing it and feeling for the guys that aren't able to get out there this summer, because it truly is a really special place.
What is the thing that you think the guys this summer will miss most about that experience?
The environment of being around just that level of college players and from all around the country, you just get to learn so much. Whether it's good or bad, it helps you or not, you're still learning a lot of valuable information. Playing every day against that type of competition for me was really unlike anything I've ever experienced. So I wanted to take it all in. I mean, just the environment of baseball out there, uh, it's just such a close knit community, and the fans and the people and the city of Orleans just extremely like positive, and just it's a great environment to be in for 2 months. You can't really ask for a better summer.
What's the spot to go to in Orleans when you got a late night game, but it's not late enough where everything's closed?
Luckily, I'm not gonna lie, host mom, Colleen Johnson and Tom Johnson, they hooked it up. When we came back, they were always have food for us, and they fed us well. I definitely will say, I think I ate at the corner store almost every single day last summer, and didn't really get tired of it for lunch. So, I mean, during the day, that's definitely where I was going. But when it came to coming back late at night, Tom and Colleen always hooked it up.
What was the Johnson House specialty?
They made some phenomenal steak tips. I think we had it like 2 or 3 times, but they anything they made was extremely good.
Well, hopefully they'll be back to making those for some host players sooner rather than later. And let's go back to the playing side of the Cape League experience. Obviously, not many D3 guys get the chance to play on the Cape. We've already established that, let alone as a full season player as opposed to just a temporary contract. How was that adjustment from playing at the D3 level to playing some of the top players in the country at any level?
It certainly was a learning experience. I mean, you had it was a different environment in which I had to compete in every day, and it really kicks in those fight or flight senses where you have to either learn or you're going to fail. And there was times at the beginning where I was experienced failure that I never really had before on the mound my first year, and that really just was one of those things that kept pushing me, because didn't really that type of feeling doesn't sit well in any type of athlete. And so your first response is you want to work harder, you want to find it what it is to help you succeed again. Um, and so that was the best thing for me, because it pushed my boundary of what I could do. Every time I went out there, it was trying to do more and more, make the next step. And there was days where it worked, there was days where you took a step back, but that also helped you learn more and take that next step forward. So there were so many valuable lessons each time you got to go out there and compete against those guys, because everybody challenged you, because everybody was out there for a reason, because they were talented and everybody wanted to prove that they were an elite college baseball player.
And it certainly didn't hurt in your case that Coach Kelly and his staff are filled with a bunch of very smart pitching minds. What are some of the things you took away from them over the course of the summer?
For me, it was mostly just that summer was learning to be a pitcher. And that comes from just being in games and competing in tight situations. And a lot of times I came in and I had to learn on the fly, and that's the best way to learn, is being in the game, learning how to pick up your tempo, how to just pitch better. And that's what I ended up having to learn fast. And as the weeks went on, I felt like I started to learn quickly, and uh, really thankful for those opportunities, because I don't know if anywhere else I would have learned as much or been given the situations and opportunity to play against the competition I got to.
What was your favorite memory from your time on Cape Cod?
That's a tough one. Uh, Definitely loved playing on 4th of July. That was a fun one. I mean, the parade, you really can't ask for a better experience than that, being on the float with all the guys and just seeing the city of Orleans. Uh, it's a really community-based place, and it really, really was something you look back on and you're just like, wow.
A very great experience, I can imagine. And you take that experience you got in New Orleans, you go back to Chapman for your junior year, you start to show up on some teams' radars as you begin to make the transition from the pen into the starting rotation at Chapman. What was some of the experience you got from playing at that college level over this past year before everything shut down?
I mean, luckily I got like 5 starts in this year, which was a good amount compared to the rest of the country. I mean, we started a little bit earlier than the Division I, Division II schools, and each one was different for me. I mean, just trying to get my feet wet and try to learn as fast as I could. So every outing, I learned something new and just tried to take that and push that into the next start and make the adjustment from start to start. So I mean, luckily I got 5 of them, which I feel like was huge for me. And by my 5th one, I felt like I'd taken a lot of steps forward from the first one. And it really did hurt when things did come to a halt there, because I feel like things were really starting to click for me and I was learning a lot and hopefully be able to make some more big jumps. But I'm really happy with where I got to this past spring, and I'm really happy to see what I can do in the future.
Well, you've certainly still managed to make an impression. You're within that top 80 on the MLB.com top 200 draft prospects list. And obviously, this draft process is a lot different from a lot of years past. The draft's only going to be 5 rounds. There's no in-person visits happening. How have you been navigating through the whole process?
You just got to do what you're supposed to, and you just got to basically answer the same questions that they would on a regular draft year. It's a little different, so everybody's kind of just making do with what we have. So whether it's Zoom calls, phone calls, FaceTimes, everybody's just getting their information they need, and you just have to go along with it and make the best of the situation.
How have those phone conversations been going? How often are you getting contacted?
It's pretty much every day at this point. I mean, we're getting closer now. I think we're almost 2 weeks out, which it's getting to be exciting and everything. But just trying to honestly take a deep breath, enjoy every moment of it, because this is a once in a lifetime experience you get to have. And when you look back, you want to make sure that you weren't stressed or overwhelmed by this. You want to make sure that this is good memories that you're enjoying and you can always be proud of.
And if I'm not mistaken, you're still at your campus housing at Chapman with a few teammates. How are you working to stay fresh?
Yeah, we ended up getting a nice little setup in our garage. We have when we've been able to work out and being around those guys, is very helpful for me to get good work in every day, just because being surrounded by that type of environment is just like you're back in college baseball. So it's easy to get good workouts in, try to stay healthy and fresh as best as you can. But we don't really know when baseball's coming back. So you just got to really take this time and keep working hard, but also take advantage of this break that we're not used to having, and really mentally get feeling good and getting ready again for whenever we get to hop back on the field and get after it.
Over the course of the season before everything shut down and through those workouts, you've managed to keep doing whatever pens you've been able to do. What are the things you've been working to improve on over the course of that time?
Yeah, it's just building off of the things that I've been doing this past spring, and that's been accumulation of what I did in the fall and then the summer in Orleans. It's always been pushing forward for what I've done in the past. And so really haven't been working too much and trying to push things too hard, but it's more of refining things and trying to make things as clean as I can, make myself move in the most efficient patterns that I can. So you're learning in a different type of environment right now, and that really challenges you to make good adjustments and keep moving forward, because this is pretty unlike any other situation where you're not surrounded by coaches really, or have access to a lot of things that are helpful. So you really have to be understanding of your own body and self and be able to make adjustments on your own.
What are some of those adjustments that you've made?
It's going to be just little stuff. Like I said, it's just going to be making myself move more efficient on the mound. It's going to go back to like a lot of workouts or just trying to improve my body, get some strength back that the season takes away from just how much is going on. So not making too many major adjustments, obviously. That's not the time for that. But just trying to really make do with what we got in our backyard setup and uh, try to just refine what I have going.
Only not too far away from that draft day. And teams consider a lot of things. And one thing that's unique with you is not only the fact that you're a D3 pitcher, but also that you haven't been a full-time pitcher for very long. You made that transition after your freshman year. Do you think that's helpful in your case, not having the same mileage that someone else your age might have on their arm?
I would certainly think so. I mean, I think that is a huge positive to me is that I definitely have only thrown for about a year and a half now. Uh, and that means I'm on the fresher side of things. And I think most importantly is that I'm younger in this, and I've had a little bit of a later start, but I feel like this is very natural to me. And the best part of it is that I love learning about it. I love learning all aspects of it. Um, that whether it's going to help me or whether it's going to be hurt against me, what I do, and you have to take all those factors in and really work off of all the information you could get, so that at the end of the day you could find what's going to be best for you down the line.
When those teams are calling you and they ask you, who is Nick Garcia? Who is he?
I mean, he's going to be a hard worker. And that's pretty much downright what I think. And that's what I set out when I was here at Chapman, is that the first day I stepped on campus, I was going to work as hard as I could. And that was all built up from what I experienced in high school, being a younger brother in my life, is that no matter what it comes down to is I'm going to work hard. I'm going to push myself, and the results are going to hold up to what I did. And I mean, I can control what I do day in and day out. And then what happens on the field happens on the field. And that's what preparation is huge for me. And that's what I'm going to do every single day that I'm given the opportunity.
And off the field, what is the off day for Nick Garcia look like? When you got that free time, what are you going to be doing?
Most likely going to be hitting the course. Now that things are opening up, I actually was able to go the other day. So just looking to get back into the swing of things and really grind out some 18s, and just love hanging with the buddies and having a good time out there. It's a different type of sport, but it definitely challenges you in a lot of ways.
How's the handicap looking?
I haven't really played that much lately, so it's not looking that great. But I mean, hopefully in the next couple of weeks now, I'm planning on hitting it as much as I can with some buddies. So hopefully we get it moving down.
Are the ranges open out there? Because I know I've tried to go golfing a couple of times without the range being open, and it has not been pretty.
Yeah, they've been open for the most part. But I mean, the best way to challenge yourself is to get out there on that course and just go send it and try to get through those 18 as best as you can.
If that's not Nick Garcia, I don't know what is. Nick, thank you so much for taking the time, and good luck when it comes to the draft.
Awesome. Thank you for having me on.